Welcome to Retake. It's been a while. It's just I was hoping to bring you the new ZX Spectrum recreation by Retro Games, or the Spectrum as they call it. But unfortunately, as is the case for some of these things, Amazon didn't quite live up to their promises on delivering the new machine. So basically it hasn't turned up. It was meant to have turned up a few days ago, but as of yet, no, nothing. But it doesn't matter, because I was going to do a video on a comparison anyway between the Spectrum from Retro Games and this one that you can see on the screen here. Now, the one you can see on the screen here is a ZX Spectrum. Might look a little different. It might look more like a Spectrum Plus or 128 or Plus 2A or similar on display, but it's not. It's neither of those. Now, Retro Games has done something that I did 4 years ago. And basically they recreated a ZX Spectrum to look like a ZX Spectrum, to feel, to work, to be used in the same way as a ZX Spectrum, but with the added ability of having modern hardware. Now, this Spectrum here is the one I built 4 years ago, and I'll put a link to the video just below here so you can have a look at it. But basically, this machine, it was just a little bit of a project that I did with an old ZX Spectrum recreated case, and also Raspberry Pi 3B, I think it was at the time, and a little USB HDMI breakout board, etc., which I put together and made it into this. And the biggest reason is because I had a recreated ZX Spectrum sitting around, which was absolute rubbish. It was the worst thing that I'd actually ever bought, really. It was just awful. And I turned it into something useful. Now, the reason why I kind of say that I did it 4 years ago is because I did. This is this machine, which in the back, you can see uses HDMI, has a power, which is a USB or micro USB power connector, audio input, so audio in and out on the back, and it's just a basic Spectrum rubber keyboard, and it does everything that your normal ZX Spectrum would do, and all the timings are correct as well. So basically I'm just going to show you what this does, other than your standard TR-DOS 48K basic calculator, 128K basic, and you're also your tape loader as well. There isn't a carousel as such on here because I didn't do that, but it's a quick flick on a cursor to bring up a menu. Now here's a screen just to give you an idea, okay? So other than in the normal TR-DOS 48, 128, tape loader and so on, you have basically this. This is your screen, which shows you how to navigate yourself around this recreated Spectrum. So if we go right to the top, we have open file, which I'll go here, browse the web, which I haven't got connected yet, load and save states, save slot, save your file, what kind of joystick you're using, which sound chip you want to use, whether it's stereo and or not, whether you want to zoom to fill the screen, whether you want to filter the screen or you want it black and white. You've also got standard tape, which is emulates a tape loading process, fast tape, play the image, which mode you want, 48, if you want a Turbo 2 on it, and then you can reset to the service ROM, which is basically the way this machine was built. And then it would go back to a reset for your normal loader. So if I go back into here, and let's say I want to do let's say open a file. So gone too far. So we'll go to open file, and then there's all the games. Okay, so tap games, SNA, and so on. Basically anything that can be used roughly with your downloads or your imaging USB style keys or whatever you want to do with it. So you just hit manic in this case, it will auto load it, run through a very sped up kind of loading sequence. There we go. And then it's literally press enter to start, and you just play the game as normal, which I can't remember. There you go. Just the normal kind of things, and just play the game. To come out of it, you go back to your state. Then you can choose something else. So if I want to load another file, so let's open another file, then let's change it to something different. I take a tap, it'll do a reset of the machine, load it as normal, and then load a different game. And there you go. So basically it's exactly the same. So open another file, or I don't know, try Aliens, resets it, loads it back up, gets it to run again. So this is basically the recreated ZX Spectrum. So I'll just do a reset on that one, and then we can go and choose something else, and that's the way it works. And you can simulate loading from a tape as well, and this is basically everything that a normal Spectrum would do. Okay, so you can see in the background it's still merrily kind of running a game, and this is what it was all about, and this is why I built this thing. It was literally to kind of preserve a little bit of the ZX Spectrum kind of authenticity, really, because the hardware was getting older, it was starting to fail. The amount of ZX Spectrums that I had to sit down and repair to keep running was getting slightly out of hand, because they were starting to fail quite a lot. Now, I've got some really nice ZX Spectrums, which were the ZX Spectrum from Portugal, and also a Sinclair ZX Spectrum again from the same area. I have a Timex Sinclair version of the ZX Spectrum as well, but not the normal silver American type one. This again was kind of a Portugal import thing, a clone which was licensed by Sinclair, and these are the ones that I tend to keep. And along with that, it was just a case of, can we really put together something that could do what a ZX Spectrum does and preserve it, and just put as many games and stuff on the machine itself that I wouldn't need to go hunting around for cassettes or Max-Duinos or something similar to, start putting my software onto. And that was the whole idea between building one of these, really. And then that was it, really. And then all of a sudden, 4 years later, the Retro Games brought out, which is this exact same thing, all but with a carousel, and a little bit more time spent on the user interface. But it appears to be using a very similar software product that this one is using, and it also appears to be using a very similar layout, really, other than the carousel. So it's nice that they've decided to do this after 4 years, especially when this was built on a pennies, really. It was built on a budget, to be honest. And their casing is this. It's literally made by the same company that made the ZX Spectrum, or the recreated ZX Spectrum case, and all they've done is added in their Linux board, and then even the cutouts on the back are very similar. I mean, I opened mine up because I used a Raspberry Pi, but the cutout on the back, including where some of the switches would have been on the new one, which is by Retro Games, are almost in the same places. So yeah, this could have been done 4 years ago. This could have been done very, very cost effectively, because the company who made these for Elite Systems, I believe it was, still had the molds and still had, you know, the rights to these, and also probably still had quite a lot in stock, because they were kind of let down by Elite, let's say, and they obviously never made their money back, but hopefully now they will. So as you can see in the background, it's playing quite merrily. So yeah, I'm kind of a little bit kind of let down by Amazon and their affiliates, but you know, what can you do? It happens. I've got every retro mini since they started launching, from the Commodore 64 to the full-size 64 to the VIC-20 to the Amiga 500 mini, which I never did a video on because I wasn't that impressed by it, because I'd kind of already done it. I'd made a full-size version many years ago, which is on this channel. The Atari 400 mini, again, wasn't very impressed with that. I don't know. It was not that any of them were bad products, but it only seemed to work with the full-size Commodore 64, full-size VIC-20, and their version of this, which looks like it does work, and it does make a nice machine. So yeah, it seems like the full-size version seemed to work. I've also done a full-size Atari ST using modern components such as Raspberry Pi boards, etc. And again, that works very, very well. So I wonder if in a couple of years' time they're going to bring out an Atari ST as a Retro Games piece of hardware. Maybe not a mini, but maybe a full-size one. Let's see. So anyway, yeah, I plan to do a lot more on this channel. I've had a bit of a break, mainly because I did 330-ish or probably more videos in fairly short space of time, and I just needed to kind of regroup as well and trying to figure out what I hadn't covered. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed looking at this. Have a look at the build video for this, which will be below, and I'll catch you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.